Hey guys, it's Morgan, aka the Mountaineer. I'm in the parking lot about to get out and hit the trail. Today I'm gonna be doing a loop, some of which I have been on and you all have seen. I'm sitting in this parking area here, gonna go up and do this CCC Trail. And then take this Mossy Rock Trail, take the Forest Road, Alligator Rock Trail, meet up, and come back here. Said it's about 3.1 miles. The video I took one time, real quick, short one, with the kids playing around me and with the thermos of coffee. I was right about there, right by the intersection of the CCC and Mossy Rock, so some of this will be familiar ground, about 3/4 of a mile to a mile of it. I think it's about 39 degrees out. I have a little bit more in the way of warm clothes this time, so hopefully it won't get too chilly, but I'm gonna go hike, maybe go do half or a little over half and try to find a good spot and get out my coffee and my pipe. All right, so I just came through that camping area there, crossing this little bridge. I can already see this might be an interesting hike. Lots of blowdowns just in this first little bit of real trail, so I don't know, we'll see how this goes. Here's a spot I filmed that first little clip before, sitting on that log with my back to the creek, smoking my pipe and drinking some coffee and hanging out with the boys. That means just beyond that, a little bit beyond this curve up here is where the next trail goes. At that point I'll be on ground that's new to me, but my tracking says both my GPS and my app say 0.8 miles and a little under 20 minutes hiked. I got about 150 yards from the car when I realized that I hadn't turned either of the trackings on, so I backtracked just a little bit and turned them on. But it's chilly, a little bit windy. Knock on wood, so far those initial blowdowns were the only ones I've seen. But I mean, if you compare this, I was probably filming about right here. I can't remember what my vantage may have been, but you can go back and compare. I mean, that was 4 weeks ago. And I mean, it's amazing the difference in foliage, how much has sprung up, and you know, everything's not out completely yet. It's got this new bright green growth, and I mean, the sun's glistening down, shining off a lot of those leaves. You can see that rhododendron real shiny right there, and the other evergreens. It's just, so far it's been a beautiful day. Just came from there. What I've normally done on the other two hikes on this trail has been either going out that road or coming, you know, the first time we went that way after being on the CCC trail. Second time we went that way first and went to the CCC, but this time going out Mossy Rock Trail, looking for these red diamond or red triangle blazes on the trees, going up and hitting the forest road. Perhaps this is where the Mossy Rock Trail gets its namesake. Gigantic moss-covered boulder. Well, look up at that sky. Little cloud down there, but for the most part clear and just bright blue. Beautiful day. Just came up that hill. Looks like I'm at the end of Mossy Rock. Here's the forest road going up that way. Middle Ridge Trail, Salters Loop, according to the sign. Here it is going the other way. And this is what I'll be following for a while. According to my app, I've gone 1.6 miles. Excuse me, I didn't look at time traveled, but it looked like 729 feet of elevation change, maybe. Maybe that was just the top and bottom end of their little chart. But pretty steep section there I just came up. Really pretty. Just came down off that hill. Trail keeps going down that way. But as you can see, there's a little creek there. Looks like some people have gone up that hillside. I'm sure you can't make out any trails. We got a couple big rocks over there. Big outcropping up there. And I'm standing on a big one. This is the, other than up on the road, this is about the flattest spot I've seen, so I think it's time to make camp. Hey guys, I got my chair set up. This time I did remember to bring that quilt on the bottom, for the bottom, to keep my butt a little warmer. It's chilly and still a little bit windy, but I have my water on. Got some serious flames. Better check that out. But I have today, of course, same old, my backpacking pipe. So I think it's out of focus a bit there, but in it today, I have some McClellan's 40th. That was in my most recent box opening, a pipe from Brian, Beans 316, so it's pretty awesome. Got it lit, and it is good. I think I can see already what all the hype is about. So I'm hoping I don't like it enough that I get real disappointed when I can never get any more. But sorry, I've got to get, I think the way those flames are coming out, I'm going to need a glove to get that thing off. Anyhow, so like I said, same setup as last week. I got my AeroPress. That feels sturdy enough. Got my water going in on the same stove, same little pot. I have home roasted coffee in it, same blend, but this time it's a different roast this time. It's actually from the first roast of using a roaster I built. I need to work some kinks out. It's a motorized flour sifter with paddles that I made and put in there, and the flour sifter's kind of hinged on what holds it, and you can dump the beans into, I can dump the beans into my strainer and put it over a fan and cool them off real quick and get more of the chaff off. Harbor Freight heat gun's the heat source. But it's not motorized at the moment. There's a wooden block mounted to the, supposed to be mounted to the sifter, and then there's an aluminum plate that's a motor mount. The motor's on there, and then the motor has a little arm that spins the sifter paddles. The arm is just a little bit too short, and the motor that wooden block just stripped right out. Used 1/2-inch screws according to the build instructions, and I think it takes longer screws, and I think I need to flip it over so it's kind of against the grain. Maybe use smaller diameter pilot holes, but anyway, so I need to make another mounting block and another arm that's a little bit longer. So I ended up, it worked for about 2 or 3 revolutions before it fell off, and so I turned it by hand about 10 or 12 minutes. A little bit painful, a little bit annoying, but it turned out some pretty decent coffee. It wasn't perfectly even roasting. I went through and picked out the most obvious dark beans, probably about 2 dozen or so, and then I threw those in with the last of my last roast, and they didn't really affect it that much. So it was really more of a visual thing, so I think in the future it won't matter if I have a couple darker. But so still a couple bugs to work out, a couple things to rebuild, but that'll be pretty cool. Have a couple bubbles forming on the bottom. So I was going along that road for a good while, and that Middle Ridge Trail just crisscrossed that road. There were so many Middle Ridge Trail signs, I mean probably 8 or 10 in the length that I walked on that. And then you saw whenever I came off just a tiny bit of Middle Ridge, and then it split onto this Alligator Rock Trail that I'm on. I got right here, started messing around, taking stuff out of my pack, and I always forget to pause the recording on that All Trails. So I paused it but didn't really look at it. But I looked at my GPS, and I think because it's relatively straight, not really a lot of little curves and switchbacks and stuff, they've been tracking one another pretty well. But it said, I want to say 2.6, and I think this is approximately 3.1 miles long, this loop I'm doing. So I'm most of the way there. I didn't even pay attention to what time I hit the trail. Usually I kind of look and see. The app says time traveled, but I don't think it'll say how long I paused for, and I didn't pay attention to that either, so I'm not sure how long this break will take. A little bit of bark fell on me. I think I got that same rock outcropping I pointed out in the earlier clip in this frame, but it's pretty to look at. These other rocks down here, I'm sure you can't see. Some of the ones down along this little creek bed. I don't know how well you can pick up the creek sounds. My mic is I lost the little fuzzy thing that goes on it. I have some spares in the basement that came with it, but I just haven't dug them out. But it's kind of pointing up that direction, so you might be picking up some of that. Figure you can probably hear some of the wind. It's not hitting me, but it's going along the tops of the trees. When I was coming out of it looks like it's not too far from Boiling. When I was coming, oh geez, not the most squared off situation for my chair. You might see me fall on a blooper reel or something, fall backwards and roll off. But I was coming up out of the valley there on the Mossy Rock Trail, and right before I got onto that forest road, it sounded like got almost one of those freight train sounds, you know, with the wind in the tops of the trees at the top of the valley. And then I guess that's why it's called Middle Ridge Trail. That forest road I was on was just basically a ridge line. It was fairly flat travel. I don't think much of an elevation change there. And I saw a couple signs for a couple other trails that I see that I've seen on the map. I think Polecat and Ballard Trail, there was a sign there, and I think they go a little ways and then split and then hit the same area on the range road. So you come in and have those two trails coming up off the road to the range right before you get to the range. And you know that I filmed that clip with all that shooting, and it was just, you know, it sounded like the final, you know, grand finale volley of a fireworks display, and then no shooting after that. So I don't know if it was just people with pin-up wanting to shoot and just come out and blow off some ammo. Maybe they stocked up when all this crap was starting up, and they thought, well, obviously it's not going to be that big of a deal, so they just figured they'd burn off a little bit of that. But sounds like I had some fun. It cooled off a good bit right as I was coming down into this valley. And now it's warmed up a little bit. My butt feels warm, so that's good. This little quilt thing works. Not something I would take backpacking unless it was like a super cold weather gear or weather trip where, you know, I'm packing in a heavy pack anyway with tons of layers and all that kind of stuff. But I also take a little 1 ounce butt pad, something like 14 inches square, folds up into has 4 sections that fold up like an accordion style. And that thing works. If you know, if it's real cold, you can just put that down and kind of insulate a little bit. It's good extra padding for this time. I'm going to try out this trip. Hopefully that's going to happen next week. I'm going to try a short sleeping pad, just kind of below the hips. It'll be nothing, so that pad will extend that a little bit, and then put my pack under my legs. And it's good for breaks. I keep it on the netting, outside my pack. And if you stop for a short sit down, you can pull that out, put it down, whatever, and kind of insulate, make it a little more comfortable. You know, if I was just to stop here for a few minutes, put that down on this rock, and it would keep the rock from sucking the heat out and also make it a little softer on my butt. I don't know, maybe a watch pot doesn't boil. Oh, and I don't have much of my tab left, it looks like. Almost 2 liters of water in there. I used a little splash to wet the filter, but it's not full to the brim, but still a good bit of water to heat up. Got my press laid out. Filter ready. Try to tuck that down so it doesn't get blown away. same stir and paddle. Oh, she's coming on unscrewed on me. There's my coffee. I think that tab might have given up the ghost now. Last week when I got home, started unpacking my stuff real quick. Try to get it unpacked and then take a shower so I don't have to do it later. And sorry, trying to juggle a lot of stuff at once. The grounds that I'd put in that bag were still very warm. Amazing how much heat they held. Alright, now for the press. Brought my same Yeti tumbler with the old school Arctic lid. I ordered this tumbler off of woot.com. They had a good deal. It came and it didn't come with a lid. And I researched, and back then, a few years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago now, I don't know, but Arctic basically copied all of Yeti's designs, I think, and then they took them to court in the past couple years. They had to change everything so they don't fit, but the Arctic fit, Arctic lid fit, and it was so much cheaper. So I ordered it from Amazon, and then it's kind of like you lose something, you lose a knife and buy a replacement, and within a day you find the knife. Well, emailed me a day or two later and said, hey, we didn't send you a lid, we'll send that to you now. So I've had two, but I like the Arctic lid better. Anyhow, you know, I've been trekking around here these past, this is my 6th weekend in a row coming out here. And I think whenever I'm heading up through valley and seeing all these creeks, and I think it, but I've never mentioned it. I always forget when I get in front of the camera. But this really makes me wonder, over the years back in the day, man, how many stills have operated in these woods? How many gallons of shine have come out of here? Because it just seems like a perfect place. You know, you imagine back in the day the kind of solitude you have right now, but then back in the day what kind of solitude you would have had. It just seems, excuse me, like the perfect landscape to have had all kinds of stills set up. And it, oh, almost lost my pipe. Just makes you kind of thirsty for a little white lightning. That is some mighty fine tobacco. Thanks again, Brian. I really appreciate it. I know how near and dear this stuff is to your heart. To give me that baggie of it. Very generous. I really appreciate it. Smells good. And it tastes good. I won't put y'all through it, but hearing all my crunching or munching sounds. But I also have a Donut Connection muffin, blueberry muffin today. For, I guess it's past lunchtime now. I had a Donut Connection peanut butter cup donut this morning for breakfast. Our friend was supposed to be, we were supposed to go over to Kentucky for her college graduation today, but obviously that's canceled. So my wife's having a little, she was making some cupcakes and Rice Krispie treats and other stuff, and gonna make little pigs in a blanket and macaroni, crock pot mac and cheese and stuff, and kind of throw her a mini party. I guess they probably started that already. I didn't realize she was doing it so early. But the way this has affected everything is crazy. I mean, just, you know, I think that I think it'll change the landscape of an awful lot of things. How business is conducted. I think eventually things like restaurants and stores will just go back to the same old. You know, sanitation and things like that might be in the back of their minds, but generally contact between people and sharing germs is, for the most part, a good thing. You look at, you know, for herd immunity, things like that. But I think in a professional sense, you know, office type stuff, I think they're seeing how much stuff can be done at home, and how much you know, you can make stuff a lot more efficient. I have a feeling that eventually an awful lot of places will realize that, hey, my employee can do that at their house 5 miles away via the internet. A dude over in you know, Bangladesh or something like that knows English can do it over the internet halfway across the world for a quarter of the pay. So I have a feeling that this is going to end up with one of the outcomes of this disease and these restrictions we've had. I think we'll see a lot of outsourcing of stuff. it's a windy day. Hopefully you're a little bit shielded from it, but it's just so pretty. I love looking at the leaves like this and the way the sunlight comes down through, and you can see the shadows of trees and other limbs and stuff, and just amazing. My cousin Zach we were texting a little bit the other day. I'll probably call him later on today to talk about this upcoming trip. I think he's been following a lot more than I have, what's opening and what's not. And I kept forgetting, but he has a young Australian Shepherd that he's bringing along, so that'll be kind of cool. And then Amanda, his older sister, she's coming. She lives in Boston for the time being, but she's gonna move back down here. Well, up where they are. After she went through a social work program for hospital, and after the mandatory work time has expired, after she's worked long enough to be released and not have to pay it back, she's going to move back closer to my aunt. But she's coming, and this will be her first backpacking trip. And I remember at Uncle Dan's memorial we were talking a little bit about it, and they spent a long time on the phone with each other, Zach and Amanda. He was telling her what all to get and all this stuff. So he said she's gotten all the gear, but his text said, I think, said, well, I just confirmed she has done 0 physical preparation. I thought, well, that's good. Maybe I won't be the one holding everyone back this time. But I think the trails, that's another thing I need to talk to him. He had told me the loop we were doing before, but I can't remember the numbers now, but go back and look better at that and read up a little bit on them. But I think I measured at that point, it was like 8.5 miles, so not a huge thing. It'll be fun. I thought we used to backpack up there. Dad's like an encyclopedia of all these trips. He remembers everything so well. I can't remember anything. But he said we didn't really do the north end of Dolly Saws before. I remember we used to hang out up kind of at the northeast corner, Bare Rocks there, monkeying around there, waiting for the vehicles to go back and forth before or after a hike. And then Bare Rocks Trails goes out west from there, I believe. And I was thinking we'd been on that, but he said no. And even though I kind of feel strongly that we did, I'm going to trust his memory more than I trust mine. So I have a lot of prep to do this week, laying out my gear. I ordered a few new little items, a headlamp to replace the little flashlight that I used before. They're about the same weight, but it's a lithium-ion battery in that thing, and I think it lasts pretty long, and it can be super bright, and I think it'll be better. And I can recharge it from a little battery and charger system I have if I need to. Probably won't, but nice to have that option. Bought some food, trail food, gluten-free. Probably Wednesday or Thursday I'm going to try to start getting rid of gluten. I don't know how long that crap takes to get out of your system, but I think that causes an awful lot of my joint pains. I digest it and stuff, but it just causes pain. Man. I gotta tell you guys, this has just been, these past 6 weekends have been so fun getting out here. The past 5, filming a little bit for you. Last week's, I guess, turned into about 40 minutes all told. I trimmed some stuff out. Trimmed a minute or so where I couldn't find my filter for my AeroPress. Some other stuff, but try not to keep them too long. Sometimes that's not the nature of the beast. I try to show some pretty stuff and some interesting stuff, and then talk. Hopefully the rambles aren't too boring. But I do appreciate the response and the comments from you guys. Hopefully I inspire one or two of you to get out into nature a little more. I mean, there's nothing like it. I mean, this is a tiny little stream. Before I leave here, I'll show it again. You can hear it, but it's not super loud, which I like. I like being near a loud stream. Honestly, I don't like camping around them. I'm just too paranoid about wildlife and stuff, and I like to be able to hear stuff that's approaching a little bit better. This would be the perfect stream to be beside, though, because you can still hear anything approaching, hear wildlife noises, but as you're trying to sleep, you could hear this peaceful little bit of a sound. But this is beautiful, and it's been so neat seeing, 1 week apart, how much more foliage is on the trees and the shift in flowers and things like that. The red buds that were out initially, all the flowers have gone from there. I saw a couple red buds on that road, but no flowers, and dogwoods are kind of past their peak for the most part. I did see a pretty one up there, but it has been great. But anyhow, for this little segment, I'll probably have 1 or 2 more things. Like I say, this is Alligator Rock Trail, and I'm not sure where it's at, but there's a rock, I guess, shaped like an alligator somewhere up here, so I'll definitely show you all that. If I see it, I'm hoping it's right on the trail, or it's, it's marked as to where it is, but I'll end this segment right here. There's that little creek. Like I say, just tiny, but just a perfect sound. I believe that might be Alligator Rock. Big old crop for alligator coming up out of the water to grab some dinner. There's a yellow diamond blaze. Looks like the trail keeps going up that way. Alright guys, looks like I'm just about to the intersection of the campsite. Go through right at the beginning. Got this little steep section. You can see the campsite down here. Oh, beautiful day, beautiful hike. Good pipe and coffee, good muffin. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.